What's up? Comb, salutations, peace to the family. 747 24/7 361 degrees. Peace to everybody watching on the TikTok, the Facebook, the YouTube. Peace to everybody watching across the universe. Comb, salutations to the primes. 747, of course. If you in a place to be, state your name, put it in the comment section. You are relevant. Also, give a share if you care. Peace to the Messiahs. What's up, y'all? Peace to all the Messiahs. What's up, y'all? Comb, salutations. Oracle, I see you. Shout out to Oracle. What's up, y'all? Peace to the Messiahs. I'm feeling really good right now. I'm telling you, I'm feeling really good. I wanted to come in with an early broadcast and just talk about a couple of things. So the title of this, Proof That We Are in a Simulation. I got a couple videos I want to run over, and another thing, I just want to talk about the Messiah Code in general, and I just want to just spread some love to the family. Now, as you know, the Great African Parade is coming up September 21st this year. Now, if you would like to attend it with our movement, it's going to be in New York, in Harlem, New York. If you would like to attend the Great African Parade, just let us know. I'll put an email that y'all can hit up. Also, y'all can inbox me, at your discretion. I'm going to share the video a little bit, do some invites, and I'm going to just vibe out. Peace to everybody that's going to come in. Peace to everybody that will be showing love across the universe, across the galaxy. I just want to just give thanks. That's it. So let me set it up a little bit. We still have a little about 1 more minute before we begin. And if you're in a place to be, like I said, just get comfortable, relax. We're going to talk about a couple things, and I'm going to do my best to share some information from the Messiah Code, and hopefully it can touch your heart and move you in a direction towards a greater version of yourself. Ultimately, that's what it's really about. It's not really about me. It's not about showing off. It's not even about me being on here. If I can touch or reach you in such a way that can make you, or you can, have a spark within yourself to change for the better, then I'm doing my child a favor. I'm doing your child a favor. I'm doing the world a favor. All right. So I just want to let you know that we're all great in here. You know, shout out to Oshun. Peace to Oshun. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your presence. All right. So all right, cool, 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 cool. So let me formally introduce myself. I am Solar Prime Supreme 131, Lazarus Lamel of the Messiah Code movement, also the Thawalu tribe. All right, we are a 501c3 charitable religious nonprofit organization. All right, just for anyone that would like to know. All right, now you can find us on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook. Just look up the Messiah Code movement or Thawalu, and you'll actually find something about what we're doing. So our objective collectively is, you know, it's just to make a change in our immediate environment. Now, each one of us are designated messiahs. A messiah is a leader or savior of a particular group or a cause. All right, meaning that it is someone designated in your area destined to take that position of leadership, and it might be you. It might be you if you're willing to put in the work. You know, a lot of times, you know, when I shared my experience about the universe and how it touched me in such a way, I told people I was looking for a sign, and the universe put out a help wanted sign. You know, the first sign that the universe showed me was a stop sign. It made me stop and reflect on a couple of things, on myself, on, you know, things that I should and shouldn't do, you know, and it made me reflect in such a way that it was a change within myself. Now, I was studying for over 20 years information, you know, of spiritual, you know, of spiritual awareness. And, you know, I felt as though I was conscious at a certain point. But when I received that stop sign, that was something that actually took me to the next level. You know, one day I was in a church and a preacher was speaking. Now, you know, I exposed Christianity in such a way, you know, during my studies, and I found out that the falsehood that was in it. So it wasn't like the preacher was speaking something that, you know, that was, he was speaking to what Christianity or the religious precepts of what Christianity represent. In actuality, he was talking to me and what I was going through at the time, you know, my test. And it was relative, you know, to not the scripture, because that day he wasn't even using the scripture. He was just using the spirit that was in him to talk to me, you know. And I found a truth that day, a universal truth that made me stop and reflect, and I was able to connect the dots with many things. All right. And then another sign that the universe showed me was the help wanted sign. And that was the sign that I really try to walk by, to be honest. Let me keep it real. Peace to everybody coming in. What's up? State your name, put it in the comment section. You are relevant. Peace to everybody watching in the YouTube and the Facebook. Now, like I said, when I got the help wanted sign, I was like, yo, I walked past that sign many times. Let me keep it real and keep it 100. I walked past it. The reason why I walked past it is because, you know, when you think about doing God's work, it doesn't really pay that well. That's what it seems. It seems like it doesn't pay that well because you would think people that do the right thing or make the right decisions are always being trampled on in some sort of way. You know, that's just how I was seeing it at that time when I saw the help wanted sign. But I had to live and learn, and I learned that, you know, certain things comes to those who really can see the cycles of things. People that can see, you know, how things move in a certain type of way. And I had to learn that. Sometimes I learned it the easy way, and a lot of times I learned it the hard way. Let me keep it real. just to let everyone know here. So I'm not claiming to be better than anyone, or I don't claim to be some dude like where I want people to worship something or who I am or what I am. I'm not that type of guy if you're looking for it when we talk about a Messiah, because collectively we form that body of the returning Messiah. If you want to know, if you was waiting for a savior, sorry to bust your bubble, but we are actually that returning savior, if you would like to know. But it's not, the power's not vested in just one person. It's vested in the collective. The name of our nonprofit is Dawalu, and Dawalu actually means the healing associated when all love unites. It's an acronym, but Dawalu also means collective consciousness or divine manifestation. You know, um, you know, just learning to move together, learning the rhythm of life, learning the rhythm of who we are as a people. We come in so many different shades, so many different colors, and we come with so many thoughts of what we think or feel reality is or isn't. Let me just share that notion with you. The only thing I can say to you is that I will share different things and you can come to your own conclusion. Peace to everybody coming in. Thank you. Thank you for everybody on YouTube, Facebook, as well as TikTok. What's up? Peace. We not on the gram right now, but we're going to be on the gram pretty soon. Shout out to everybody on Instagram as well. All right. So again, running it back, I'm going to share this with you. You see that? That's the 131. That right there is the 131. It's the symbol of the body. It's the symbol of the body. You say, what do you mean? Because the symbol of the body, is 131. Look, which is the sacred name and a sacred number. What's up? Y'all coming in? Peace to everybody. Share the video. Thank you. Can I get a share if you care? Can I get a share if you care? Can I get 10 shares if you care? Everybody, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you at. All right, look. So the 131, you see this? If you see me put this up right here, you see me put this up, or anybody that's affiliated with the movement, it's not a gang sign. All right. It actually is symbolic of 1, 3, and 1, which is the sacred name and a sacred number. See, the sacred name becomes Lamel because it's the name frontwards and backwards, which is the Alpha and Omega. All right. So we would think of the principle that is existing on this earth. The beginning of something is the ending of something, and the ending of something is truly the beginning of something. All right. So I got a couple things I wanted to share with you today. I do want to do some readings. If you pick a number from 1 to 31, I'll invoke the spirit and I'll ask the spirit to guide me to give you some wisdom, not the answer today. I'm just saying, for anybody that comes in that enjoys when I do the readings, all right, I will do readings as so far as picking numbers between 1 and 31. Okay. But yeah, collectively we're the returning savior. We're that returning body. And it's up to us. We have a task to perform in this world. We have a job to perform. That's the reason why we came to this planet. We actually seen, a problem, and what we felt is though we can be difference makers. All right. I want to say peace to the primes. In the age of information, or in this new age, we're designated as the primes. The primes are considered to be prime numbers. Now we're talking about uniqueness. Now each one of us have a unique purpose to perform within this world. Again, back what I was saying. All right. So I wanted to share something with you today. And it's about the observable universe. And we're going to talk about the double split experiment. Now, this double split experiment is very important because it talks about the quantum entanglement of basically two atoms. Okay. And you know, I found in my study that, you know, just not being a mathematical professor or anything like that, but I found in my study that quantum entanglement, I found it from another perspective, and I found it from love. Like, for instance, you might be doing the same thing somebody's doing, or somebody's doing the same thing as you at the same time. Or you may be feeling some type of way and somebody feels some type of way at the same time, somewhere else, at a complete distance far away. And it doesn't matter how far you're away, you still feel the same thing. And it's because love is in the middle of the two particles, and thus makes those particles one and the same in a quantum entanglement. That's the only thing I can describe it as. To keep it real. I mean, they do a lot of experiments with particles, and they see how these things are entangled in some sort of way. But I felt the same thing from love. Peace to charity, peace, Messiah Code All Stars. You know, I felt the same quantum entanglement from love, where, you know, somebody can be in the same distance no matter where they are, and I feel this. We're feeling the same thing. All right, and that's what we move upon. You know, another thing is, if you ever, it's another experiment that I'm gonna share with you today, where they take sound. They take the air out of a chamber, right? And they start to ring a bell, but the bell, you don't hear the bell ringing. Now you like, why you can't hear the bell ringing? The reason why you can't hear the bell ringing is because they took the air out of the tank, and sound actually moves through air as a medium. Now think about this. I got something that's deep for you. Meaning that it kind of walks on air, if you want to call it sound. It moves through air in order to connect with your ear for what you think is sound. All right? So you might ask me, well, why are you bringing this to my reality? Why are you bringing it? You know, because they are still able to see what's in there. Meaning that, let's say they can still see the canister, or they can still see the the bell, because light is actually moving through a medium itself. Like, what if you can take something out now, it's light in the room, but you know, what is filling that object? What is the medium that light is moving through? And I'm gonna bring it to your mind right now. It's consciousness. It's consciousness, yo. Consciousness is a relative part about how we live and how we experience life itself. I'm gonna keep it real. Look, I got something for y'all, a special treat. Watch this. Let's watch this video real quick. Let me see. See if it'll go. A special treat.
Electrons, and even atoms are in superposition, meaning they can exist in.
Let me start this.
Quantum mechanics shows us that particles like photons, electrons, and even atoms are in superposition, meaning they can exist in different states and even multiple places at the same time. They are thought to be nothing more than waves of probabilities, until the moment that they are measured. This measurement collapses the probability wave of the particle such that it then becomes a distinct particle with distinct properties. One interpretation of this phenomenon is that the measurement being made requires a measurer or a conscious observer.
In actuality, it doesn't. It doesn't need a conscious observer. I mean, keep it real. Like, they think that, like, let's say, to collapse reality, it needs a conscious observer, but it really doesn't. It just needs the atoms to be entangled in such a way that whatever is observing the universe in general, that's how they're connected. And I'm telling you, it's love. Like, all of this scientific stuff that they're going to say to us, I want you to just think about love and think about the power of love and how it transmits in such a way.
Correct, then it implies that consciousness has to be an integral part of creating the world that we observe. Could this consciousness then be required for creating reality? Does this mean that there would be no reality without consciousness, implying the universe would not exist unless there was someone to observe it? The answer to this profound question is coming up right now.
So, hold on, let me fast forward. Back.
Waves of probabilities. This is the foundation of quantum mechanics. The famous double-slit experiment illustrates this. So, for example, if you shoot single atoms through two slits with the detection screen on the other side, and you do this repeatedly, these single atoms do not show a pattern like individual particles would, that is, two bands of particles. Rather, they show an interference pattern, like a wave, similar to the pattern that a wave of water would make if going through two slits.
Yo, oh man, this is real deep. Pay attention to what he just said. Please pay attention to what the man said. He said that they were shooting particles through two slits, right? Through two slits. Now, what happened is the particles, what they should have did, the particles, they should have
repeatedly
made
these single atoms
a shape like this. If I'm shooting two particles through two slits, right? I just, for whatever y'all, you know what I'm saying? I'm just breaking this stuff down so everyone understand what's going on. They're taking particles of light. They're taking it and they're shooting these particles through two different slits, right? Now, on the other side is a wall to catch these slits or catch the light. All right. Now, what they did was they didn't use white light. They utilized like a specific light that's on a specific bandwidth. Like they might use a red light or a green light or whatever like that. They utilize the same light. The reason why is because it's not a mixture of wavelengths. It's not a mixture of different, like white light is all of the lights combined. Okay. So they're using a specific color when they shooting this through, right? And it should look like two things like that when they're shooting the photons of light. It should look like that, but it doesn't. You know how it looks? It looks like
atoms do not show a pattern like individual particles would. That is, two bands of particles. Rather, they show an interference pattern.
They show
like
an
a wave,
interference pattern,
similar to the pattern that
it ends up like this. So you question yourself. You say, "Well, how has this happened?" Because what happens is when the photon goes through the when a particle goes through the it interacts with itself. It interacts with itself to cancel itself out to make an interference pattern. Does this sound familiar? This sounds like something that we go through in life. And this what brings to notion that There are multiple realities that we are living in at this moment. You can choose which reality that you want to live in. You can choose it. You can actually choose it. Like you spinning in this chair, right? Let's say you spinning in this chair. Infinite possibilities. All up and down, whatever. Infinite possibilities. And you choose which one. Yo, this is real deep. I'm going to show y'all something else
Wave
that'll
of
blow
water
your
would
mind.
make if going through two slits. This means that the particle going through the slit is either interacting with itself or other particles that are about to be fired but haven't gone through the slits yet. Okay, so this may be a bit weird, but most people can probably accept it, that atoms behave like ocean waves instead of like balls. But what is truly bizarre and unbelievable is that when you try to find out what's going on at the slits by placing a detector there to see what's happening with the atoms, by the way, this is called the which way information. In other words, if you try to detect or observe the trajectory of these atoms, they all of a sudden stop behaving like waves and now behave like particles. And this can be recorded on the screen behind the slits.
Ain't this some stuff? Ain't this some stuff? Now you put a detector in and they start acting like particles.
You might say, well, maybe the detectors are messing with the flow of atoms somehow. Maybe when photons bounce off the atoms and go into the detector, they disturb the atom and collapse its probability wave. But if you keep the detectors there, but turn them off so that no measurement actually gets made, the screen again shows an interference pattern. And as soon as you...
Oh my goodness, did you hear what the man said? The man said, look, you put a detector there. When you put a detector there just to try to detect it, what happens? They start to act, they start to act like they start to act like they watching for real. They're really watching. Why is light intelligent? I just want to know, is light programmed? It has to have some sort of protocol associated with it. I'm going to keep it real because light is what traps us. Think about it. They said God is the light of heaven and the earth. Oh my God. You want me to bring those verses up? Man, this is serious. So they put a detector, it started acting like particles.
Its probability wave. But if you keep the detectors there, but turn them off so that no measurement actually gets made, the screen again shows an interference pattern. And as soon as
it shows an interference pattern. They're not observing it, it shows an interference pattern. All right? They observing it, it shows like it's a particle. All right?
You turn the detectors back on, the interference pattern goes away. So what's going on? Why do atoms and other particles behave this way? There are many interpretations of this phenomenon. The most widely accepted interpretation.
They're going to talk about how, well, what if the detector is actually putting something on the photon to interfere with it to make it turn into a wave, and then the wave started causing an interference pattern on the wall. Peace to everybody coming in. What's up? We breaking down this real simulation situation and proof that we are in a simulation. Look, watch how we break this stuff down.
Is called the Copenhagen interpretation, which was devised in 1925 by two pioneers of quantum mechanics, Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg, at the University of Copenhagen. Their theory proposes that the atom, when it is not measured, is not distinct. It is a wave of probabilities, meaning it can potentially be at various places at the same time with various properties. Each of these places and properties has a probability associated with it. That's why there's a probability wave pattern for these particles. However, as soon as the particle is measured, this probability wave collapses and it becomes a distinct particle with distinct properties and position. But the Copenhagen interpretation does not say anything about consciousness. It just says that the particle becomes distinct when it is measured. But what is measurement after all? Does measurement take place at the instrument that measures it? Does it take place when the instrument's measurement is recorded in its digital memory? Does it take place when a human eye sees the results? Does it take place when my brain interprets the result? Or does it happen somewhere in between? Does measurement necessarily require consciousness? This is called the measurement problem of quantum mechanics. The problem is we don't know, and this has been
Problem is we don't know. Yo, you know what's so deep? It's a question that they always ask. They be like, yo, what they say? They say, what if a tree is in the forest, right? Y'all ever hear this one? They be like, yo, what if a tree is in the forest and it drops? Does it make a sound? No, it doesn't make a sound at all because it's no one conscious to hear it. So consciousness feels it. He says that he's going to break down how you necessarily don't need consciousness or my consciousness to know or to collapse a reality. But I'm going to say this, God, or what they can consider to be God, the Most High, is consciousness. Watch, because you're going to need consciousness in order to collapse it in any type of way. Watch this.
Debated for years. Physicists do not universally agree on a resolution to this problem, so there are various interpretations. Another such interpretation is called the von Neumann-Wigner interpretation. This basically postulates that in the long chain of measurement, the collapse occurs at the moment that a consciousness, presumably human consciousness, interprets the measurement. In other words, the consciousness of the physicist is making the particle distinct, and without this consciousness, the atom would just be a wave of probabilities. But this raises all kinds of potential questions about what constitutes consciousness and how is it involved in this process.
Hold up. Do you know what he just said basically? He's basically saying life is like a video game. Like, let's say, you know how a video game, when you walking through a video game, I don't know if people play the video game, but when you walk in a video game, the environment, it loads to the user's potential. Wherever the user is going, that's where the environment loads. So it doesn't use up all the data capacity of whatever it's computing, whatever the game is, the CPU of the computer. So it loads only the environment that the user is, the potential that the user is in. So that's deep. That's what he was basically saying. Hold up.
And how is it involved in this process? Can the consciousness of a lizard or worm also collapse a probability wave? There are several other competing interpretations. The most fascinating interpretation is the many worlds interpretation, and it was put forth by Hugh Everett in 1957, who was a graduate student at Princeton University at the time. He was ridiculed when he first proposed it, but ironically, this is tending to gain favor with physicists today, more than 60 years later.
Hey y'all, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I know the elephant in the room is these are old white people, but yo, man, stop. Whoever said that in the background, y'all need to chill, man. Y'all need to stop it. These are really intelligent men, man. Y'all can't really hate on it. I'm for real. Their mathematics is real serious. They don't base these things on philosophy. I know a lot. I saw y'all, man. Y'all stop it, man. Y'all tripping. Y'all tripping in the YouTube, man. Listen, nah. For real. A lot of their mathematic formulas, you can go check these out.
This theory postulates that there is never any collapse, that we may be measuring it in our reality, but there's no measurement happening in a different reality, and the wave function continues.
All right, let me run it back so we don't.
We may be measuring it in our reality, but there's no time. He was ridiculed when he first proposed it, but ironically, this is tending to gain favor with physicists today, more than 60 years later. This theory postulates that there is never any collapse, that we may be measuring it in our reality, but there's no measurement happening in a different reality, and the wave function continues in that different branch of reality, and that there are endless branches which break off from one reality and proceed in another. This implies there are multiple worlds or multiple universes where different measurement or observations or no observations could take place.
I somewhat agree with this. I somewhat agree with this in some way. So does Elon Musk, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and many others. It's the idea that we are not in some form of a base reality. We are not in a base reality. Like for instance, some people think like let's say you transition, you die, right? And you go to a perceived heaven or whatever like that. And now you got a lot of people waiting for you. They're waiting for you. Where are they going to be waiting at? A train station where everybody waits at, that people transition? That's where they get the word haven from. Like heaven and haven are the same word. So like when people go to this haven, what they're expecting is that they're going to see somebody from their past. And that all of a sudden all these people, now you got many others are saying the same thing. Now this place becomes a place of many people waiting there and many people pushing and shoving trying to get to their relatives. So this doesn't seem like a heavenly place. All right. So back to the point that we're not in a base reality, is that you are the center of your universe and you interact with other universes in some sort of way. All right.
Some branch of reality, the particle collapse never actually happens. What we observe is just one measurement in our one reality. The other realities are not accessible by us. There is some new evidence that seems to support this idea of multiple realities. A paper published just this year in 2019 by Massimiliano Proietti at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh seems to support the idea that at least two equally provable realities could exist at a quantum level at the same time. The link to this...
Wow. He proved it. He proved that. Only problem is you're not able to communicate with that reality. That's the only problem with his proof. I mean, I can think about it, because if he proved that there are two distinct realities, the only problem with that is that you can mathematically prove it. Yes, you can mathematically prove that there are two distinct realities. Yes, okay, cool. But what I'm saying is that, it's no way that you can fundamentally really prove it in such a way, because you would have to be able to communicate with that reality. But I'm going to keep it real. You communicate with that reality all the time. All the time. It's not by any scientific instrument. The greatest science is yourself. The greatest science is yourself. You look at this, man. You are actually an AM. You can change your body into an AM radio. You can change your body into an AM radio. All right, where all of these things match up, where the pineal gland and the olfactory bulb become your modulating circuit. Your heart becomes your carrier frequency oscillator. How your lungs can be your antenna array, your spine, the transmission coil, the skin is the capacitor field, the voice is the signal output, and the hands are your directional emitters, and your feet are the ground wire into the earth. See, your body is a radio. These are the components of a radio, of a device that communicates with something of a higher echelon. All right. See, now they have to utilize these instruments, but these instruments are not going to be able to tap into those worlds. We tap into those worlds all the time when we're in sleep. Think about it. What traps us in this realm? What traps us in this realm? Y'all got to, if anybody put it in the chat, put it in the chat. What traps us in this realm is light. Peace. What's up, my brother? You said breatharians say that they perceive 3 to 4 different realities easily, literally in many different places at once. I experienced this. If I can like that right now, I would like it. Yeah. You know, I support that. I support that idea. You know, that there are many realities and that the earth that we living in could be a flat earth to some people. To some people. I'm going to tell you why I say that, bro. I'm going to tell you why I say that. The reason why is because it's a certain experiment. I'm going to show you, right? I'm going to show y'all another joint called the horizontal cat experiment. The horizontal cat experiment. Yo, this is some deep stuff, man. Yo, the horizontal cat experiment. Yo, bro, they put some cats, right, in an environment where they only seen straight lines, right? Either horizontal lines or vertical lines, right? I'm gonna show y'all some stuff on this. This is some deep stuff, right? And look, yo, you know what's so deep, bro? Man, listen. The cats, after they came out of this exposure to this environment, yo, these cats were blind to whatever they was not exposed to. Like for instance, or horizontal cat experiment. See if they can horizontal cat experiment. Show y'all this, man. This is crazy. This is some real stuff. Let me see. It was conducted in the 1970s. All right. It represents the idea that during our youth, right, our brain is in development. It's in such a developmental stage, right? You shouldn't be keeping kids away from certain things that enhance their mind in a certain sort of way. Watch this situation, right? Let me see. Look at this. Let me see if I can show this. Horizontal cat experiment, bro. Yo, it'll blow your mind. It'll blow your freaking mind. Look, they like I said, they put 2 cats. They put 1 cat in an environment where it was nothing but straight lines. And then they like vertical lines. They put another cat in an environment where it's nothing but horizontal lines, right? All in their youth, like in their youth, their developmental stages where the brain is developing. Don't you know when they took the cats out of this environment, the 1 cat that was in the horizontal part, only thing, guess what the cat? It was running into walls. Whap! Whap! Running. The cat was blind. The cat became blind, bro. So you got to ask yourself, hold up. What do you mean? Yes, the cat became blind. The other cat was blind too. It was falling off of tabletops, falling off of stuff like, boom. And the only way the cat could really see, guess what the cat was doing? Like this. It was turning its head like this so we can see the environment. Yo, it'll blow your mind. Yo, this is crazy. This is crazy. Let me see. Let's see if I can, I'm trying to find this horizontal cat experiment. It's blowing my mind. Like, so, yeah. Let me see. So like, let's say the idea of this is, let me see if somebody's showing it. I don't know if they've really shown it like that. The idea of this is if you are exposed to certain things, your brain will not develop the certain channels. If you're not exposed to certain things to grow your brain will close up those places. You'll never have those avenues open so your brain can channel through it and create those pathways to function that way. So yeah, so imagine this. They put us in a 2D world. You say, how is that? Think about it. Man, count to 10. Count to 10. How about this? Think about this. Count to 10. Go ahead. I'm going to wait for it. Okay, you counted to 10, right? What did you use to count to 10? Seconds. You use seconds to count to 10. 2D, 2 dimensions. They gave you a piece of paper to write on as a kid, as a child. They gave you 2 dimensions to write on. But you live in a 3-dimensional environment. I'm just saying, for you can go higher dimensions and all of that. We're not going to talk about that right now. It's no way that you can reach those higher dimensions unless you open up pathways in your brain. You have to literally force these pathways in your brain to exist now because of what we've been exposed to. Keep it real. I'm going to keep it real. You literally got to force these pathways in your brain in order to tap into these higher realms that we know exist. We keep it real. People say, oh man, you think about it. Just think about it in some sort of way. So, back into the proof that we're in simulation. Oh, I want to show y'all something about light. This something that blew my mind. How light always finds the shortest path. How light always finds... Oh man, let me see. I might gotta type it in. This will blow your mind too. Because I'm just thinking about this. This will blow your mind. This will blow your mind. This is proof that we are definitely in some form of simulation. All right, proof. It's real proof that we in this simulation. Look, so I don't know if this guy is going to explain it. Let me see. This might be it. There's some real good stuff. Hopefully this is it. This is like, I want to, let me see. Maybe this is it. Yeah, because if you think about it, like for instance, right? When light goes through a medium like water, it bends. You got to ask yourself, well, why does light bend in a medium of water? What would cause it to bend in some sort of way? You know what I'm saying? Because, all right, I got y'all. Here we go. This is a perfect example of what I'm saying right here. This video is a perfect example of what I'm saying. Let me see. All right, look at this. Look at this. This is a perfect example. Let's say if you got a friend, right? Your friend is in the water and you want to save your friend from the water. So your friend is over here. Your friend is over here, excuse me. Your friend is way over here at this other dot. So now you would think the fastest way to your friend is a straight line. The fastest way to your friend is a straight line. That is not true. Because if you look, it's like it's half and half, right? But you can run faster on land than you can swim in water. Am I right? So what you do is you do something smart. You go this way over here. You go way over here, right? And then you go to your friend instead of going in a straight line to your friend. Do you understand the concept of what I'm talking about here? For some reason or another, light knows that you gotta, it can't go straight to its friend to save its friend from the water. Light figured out that I need to go over here and then I'll go in the water to go get my friend. I'm gonna keep it real. And you can come up with an equation. They have an equation for this. You know, every time they know where light is going to be at, no matter where. They can calculate light getting to the friend, should I say. Because light bends to go to the shortest path. Now, if light went in a straight line, light wouldn't be light. It wouldn't be light because it wouldn't be taking the fastest path to the location. So the only way to break this in some sort of way, peace to Sister Kimberly, what's up? So yeah, I'm breaking down the proof of the simulation right here. Peace to everybody watching the YouTube and the Facebook, as well as the TikTok. So I'm breaking down how light took the shortest path, all right? Maybe these guys can break it down a lot better than me, but hear me out. It actually bent in such a way that it chose the shortest path. So, you know, everything that we do is operated in the light, in the degree of light, okay, which captures our mind. The only way that we can get out of this light is how? How do we get out of it? We close our eyes. We go in meditation. Now your consciousness is moving faster than the speed of light. It's moving at the speed of life. And keep it real. When you close your eyes, your consciousness taps into a degree that is faster than the speed of light. So why do you think a lot of spiritual practices, they close their eyes when they pray? You know, you got 20/20 vision, right? You got 20/20 vision. This is 20/20 vision. Your perception. 120/120. Meaning that, you know, you got 10 fingers, 10 toes, that's 20. I got 10 fingers and 10 toes, that's a 20. That's 120. But man was only given 120 years. That's just 120 degrees of perception. All right? But hear me out. When you shut down that 120, you go into the speed of life, faster than the speed of light. All right? And you're able to, you know, tap into, that's when I was talking about the observable universe, how we was watching the last video, how it's a wave of probabilities. A wave of probabilities. Now, you think about it, if it's a wave of probabilities, the only way to tap into that wave of probabilities is to go within yourself. It's to go within yourself. Think about this too. And as you go within yourself, you start to utter these words, right? You start to speak things into creation. Now, what's so special about your words are you got to watch what you say as messiahs. Because when you say something as a messiah, it's different than people that don't have the power that you have. When you say something as a messiah, the power that you have is that it solidifies. Because you're coming from within, going to without. All right? That's the power that you have as a messiah. That's why we don't go around cursing people. We go around blessing people. Yo, bless you. Yo, I want you to have a great day. We smile at people. You know, people in the street, they see us, they see a great energy that they can connect with because we know the divine power that we have as messiahs. All right? So we reach into that divine power and we bestow it upon those that are in our presence. All right? And we gift them with the blessing. Say, yo, man, have a great day. You know, you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. You know, and so forth. To encourage one another to do better. All right? That's how we change the perceivable reality. But another thing that we do as messiahs, all right, we go within that darkness. Now you say, man, this darkness, what are you talking about? Because they said the darkness is bad. The darkness that they're talking about is obscurity. We're not talking about that darkness. It's a mistranslation. We keep it real. We're talking about the tranquil place that God existed when Moses went to go see him. I'm saying for real. That's Exodus chapter 20, 21. So 2021. Yeah. He was in a thick cloud of darkness. The thick cloud of darkness is in the mind. He was in the mind. He was in that man's mind. And even how you know that the crucifixion is really symbolic is that the place that Jesus was crucified was the place of the skull. The place of the skull. The place of the skull, Golgotha. That's when he met crucifixion. That's when the Son was on the cross. It's all symbolic, but it's a nursery teaching for those that need it, that only can perceive a certain level of reality. That's why we don't argue with people. You don't have to argue with an insane person about certain things, about the historicity of certain spiritualities. You really don't. All you have to do is extract what is symbolic from it, because that's all you was meant to get from it anyway. And if they believe in it in the way they do, then let them believe in it. Just like my child believed in superheroes until I let them know that, you know, I'm your superhero. Keep it real. You know, they had our children believing in Santa Claus. And we had to let them know that I'm Santa Claus. They had our children believing in the Tooth Fairy. And we had to let them know that I'm the Tooth Fairy that's putting money underneath that pillow when you lose them teeth. We'll keep it real. All right? So, you know, just breaking all these things down, you know, in reference to the observable universe and how it compiles into a certain reality of how we see it. You know, it's all about tapping into yourself, tapping into that darkness. You know, a lot of times they ask me, well, what do you do when you off of here? You know, I spend time writing books. I spend time working, doing regular life. You know, doing things like, you know, that regular humans do. Let me keep it real. I spend my time doing those things because I learn in a lot of the things that I do on a daily basis. Like being consistent in whatever I'm doing, whatever work I'm doing. I have a spiritual lesson from it. You know, I learned it's like doing certain things, being consistent and whatever. I extract what I need from it from my spiritual horizons, and so should you. This is what we do on a daily basis. But you know, another thing that I do is I go into darkness. I close my eyes. I go into the blind man's eye. You say, well, what is the blind man's eye? You don't need these eyes. My question is, why do they call this the third eye and this is your first eye? This doesn't make sense to me. This is your first eye that you was capable of seeing with. Before these two, why is this designated the third? And this is the first eye. All right? This is the first eye. So you begin to see with that eye, go into that eye. You know, I go into the blind man's eye. And I go and I close my eyes at times. You know, when I take walks, I try to blink as less as possible. How should I say? You say, well, what do you mean? Like I might take a walk, and I might blink maybe 2 times in a minute, rather than 5 times or 10 or 20 times in a minute. I know it's like a natural reaction to blink, but when you decide to not blink like that, and you just keep your eyes closed, and then you only open them when you need to open it, you guess what you do? You start to tap into something else. This is what I was talking about with this 2020. Don't you know, when you shut down this 2020, something happens to your brain? For real. At times I blindfold myself for days. You say, well, why do you do that? You crazy. I do it because it's Star Walker training. You know, I begin to perceive things with my mind. I begin to see different energies and colors, not through the perception of your eyes, but through the perception of thought. You know, when you're utilizing a blind man's eye, you're able to see things within the inner self, the things that's within you. You know, the hardest challenge that I think that we have as messiahs is going to the mirror, because you got to accept yourself for everything you did, you didn't do, the things that you cannot do. It's cool. It's not meant for you to do that. It's meant for somebody else to take up the helm for that. And it's up for you to be the observer of it. This is real simple, you know, but we're all here for to suit a grand purpose. And when you go into that darkness, when you go into that state of tranquility, all right, you're going to that peace. You're going into a state where, you know, where you can just really settle everything, and you're able to put yourself in a position where you need to. So now you begin to think. You begin to, you know, when you're thinking about your plans that you want to put in order, this is what I'm leading this conversation to. Just take a breath. Take a breath. Breathe with your eyes closed. Take a moment and just breathe. And when you tap into that force, that's the greater version of yourself. And then choose which reality you want to be in. Keep it real. If you can collapse, I showed you all of this science here. I showed you all of this science about collapsing the wave and the observer. You are at the center of your universe. So what I'm saying is, when you go into that breath and you begin to think in that darkness, because in order to go past the speed of light, you have to go into the darkness. Now we're talking about you know, choosing the observable universe that you want to collapse. In order to do that, you have to go into that tranquil state of your mind. And when you go in that state, use the breath. Calm. and then choose which reality you want to collapse. Just choose it. That's it. Go through the dot and then choose which one you want to collapse. As simple as that. All right, so I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Peace to the Messiahs. This was a great discussion. Look forward for me to be on a broadcast more often. I'm gonna start coming on every day. How about that? In some sort of way, I'm gonna make my way on every day. You know, we got something really good coming up, the Great African Parade. I would enjoy your company there. You can contact us at thewalu.361@gmail.com. All right, if you are interested in attending. We are hiring 5 people for that day, you know, that will help us with promotion, as well as help us with little things that we need to make sure that you know, we're able to, you know, be there at the parade. All right, so I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for everyone. It was a great discussion here. I really feel good. I'm gonna say that, man. I feel really good. I feel like, man, I feel some of the best I felt in a lot of my life. I'm telling you, I feel really good. I feel really good about what we have going on. I feel really good about our movement. I feel really good about you and what you got going on with yourself. So I want you to keep bigging up yourself and keep moving forward. All right, keep growing and keep on becoming. Peace to the Messiahs. Thank you.